everybody, this is Alessandra. Welcome to my home, welcome to my kitchen. We're going to make something absolutely delicious. We're going to make cream puffs with coffee-filled custard and a layer of a coffee glaze on top. Now, too many ingredients to go once, so the first thing we're going to tackle is the base to make the cream puff, which is a choux, pâté choux called in French, which is a double cooked dough. You first cook it on the stove, then in the oven. Let's get started with that right over the stove, and then we'll make the custard and the glaze later on. In a medium saucepan, I'm going to put a cup of water, which is 240 mLs, one stick of butter, which is 112 grams. I've cubed the butter because you want to make sure that it melts rather quickly. Otherwise, if it takes longer to melt, then you're evaporating the water and you're losing water. My flame is on medium, and here I have just a pinch of sugar and just a pinch of salt. Now, ready right here, I have a cup of flour and the 5 eggs. The process is complete. Now, I'm going to move the pot off the stove and add my flour in, the 1 cup of flour, and you're going to start stirring. Watch this, it's gonna come out. It looks liquidy, but look how the flour starts absorbing all the liquids and become a dough. Now move it back on the stove on a low flame and cook it for just a minute or so. What you want to, you see, it's a beautiful soft dough. And now it's time. It detaches beautifully from the bottom. It's time to remove it from the stove. I have a glass bowl right here. I'm going to just place it in and just wait a little bit before I start adding my eggs. If you put your eggs too quick, they're gonna cook and you're gonna end up with scrambled eggs. The dough is cooled, and right now I already put the oven on 400, so go ahead, put your oven on. I have lined a 15 by 21 cookie sheet with parchment paper, okay? And now what we're going to do is gradually start adding our eggs. Take a look at the dough as we mix it. So there goes the first egg. When you start mixing it, make sure again that the dough cooled down enough. Otherwise you're gonna have scrambled eggs. And look how it falls apart. It looks like it's not mixing. Just keep at it, keep mixing, and you'll see the dough will absorb the egg. Do not add your next egg until the first one is fully absorbed. Next egg is in. Okay, I've added all the 4 eggs, but I think the consistency isn't right yet. There's a couple ways to see it. One is to put it between your finger and it needs to stick. Not sure. I would like to add half an egg more. 1 egg might be too much, but half would just be perfect. So I'm going to take my 5th egg and just lightly beat it, and then I could add the half an egg in it. Another way that you could tell, it needs to, in Italiano we say it needs to write, so the dough needs to kind of, it kind of drips and you're able to swing it back and forth and create like ribbons. So I'm going to add the other half an egg, and then let's see if it's the right amount. Okay, it looks great. Okay, you see, we could see the ribbons forming. It's exactly the way we want it. Now, I have a disposable piping bag with a round attachment that's about 3/4 of an inch. If you don't have this attachment, you just cut the tip and leave it round, and that should do the trick. Now we're going to fill up the piping bag and just start, and I'll show you how to bake them. Going to use a tall glass to stand up my piping bag, which makes filling the bag a lot easier. Okay, now go ahead, put the right pressure. You don't want them too thick, you don't want them too thin, and just swing back. I'm going to wet my finger and gently just smooth out the part where I cut off the piping bag, okay? Ready for the oven. 30 minutes have passed. I think they're ready. Wow, 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 wow. Take a look at the cream puffs. They look fantastic. Look at that. See, I even made a little one. There was enough dough to make this little one. Perfect. Time to make the crema pasticcera, which is your espresso coffee custard cream. I'm going to start. I am going to make everything in a medium-sized saucepan, okay? Let me give you the ingredients. I have 3/4 cup espresso, Italian espresso coffee that I made in my Italian coffee machine. If you have an automated machine, if you have instant, what you want, you need about 3/4 cup of the coffee. Then to the 3/4 cup, I'm going to add 1.25 cups to total everything to 2 cups. Okay, so I just did that, and now we're going to have I'm going to put 3 egg yolks and 1 whole egg, and the reason why I do that will give it a thicker consistency, because we'll be mixing the crema pasticcera with heavy cream. Now also I have a teaspoon of dark cocoa powder, and I have 1/2 cup of cornstarch plus 1 tablespoon. It needs to be a total of 50 grams. So if you have a scale, go ahead and weigh it. If you don't, just do 1/2 cup plus a tablespoon. Now the sugar here, I have 3/4 cup. This is how I make my crema pasticcera. The first thing I'm gonna add is my sugar. The next thing, I'm going to put in my whole egg, and then my 3 egg yolks. Don't discard your egg whites, because we're going to be making meringues soon enough. And that's a very light, airy cookie that's absolutely delicious. Okay, and here's the third egg. Okay, now with a whisk, I'm going to start whisking my yolks with the sugar until it's all well incorporated and a little frothy. Okay, there you go. I'm gonna keep whisking. See it already changing color a little bit. Now the next thing I'm going to add is my cornstarch. You could also use flour, but I find that the cornstarch gives a silkier final product. Okay, now you see, it's getting all mixed in. This process like this, what it does, it avoids getting the cream will be nice and smooth instead of having all little chunks in it. It's going to be a smooth and delicious cream. Okay, next thing in is going to be the cocoa powder. The cocoa powder is pretty much for color and just a little bit of flavor, but mostly it gives it that rich dark brown color that also will resemble a lot the espresso. Okay. Now, I'm going to be adding my cafe latte, coffee and milk. Okay, perfect. Now let's move over to the stove and continue and start cooking it. My flame is on medium low, and I'm just gonna keep stirring. If you could walk away a minute or so, you know, you don't need to sit here and constantly stir, but don't leave it, otherwise it will catch the bottom. 5 minutes have passed and the cream is thickening up. Come closer, I want you to see. Just keep whisking. See that? Wow. Okay, time. Boil, time to close it. Remove the cream from the saucepan because it will keep cooking and you don't want that. You just want to remove it into a glass bowl. And also what you're going to be doing is add saran wrap right on top to, not saran wrap, plastic wrap, to avoid creating a thick film on top. So that's what we're going to do. We're going and just place it gently down. So like that, it doesn't create the hard crust. Okay, let's move it on the side. Now, I already made the cream last night, so it's nice and cold. Let's move on to the next step of the crema pasticcera. I have 1 cup of very cold whipping cream and 1/8 of a cup of sugar, granulated sugar. And I'm going to whip it up to create stiff peaks. The whipped cream is perfect and it took took a minute and a half actually. Now I'm going to move everything to a larger bowl because it's easier for me to mix, and this will achieve what's called crema chantilly cream. Okay, I'm going to start adding my whipped cream into my coffee cream. Just combine it until it's all a beautiful coffee color. I finished adding all the whipped cream. Now I'm just going to keep whipping until it's all mixed. Okay, I'm super ready to assemble these beautiful coffee eclairs, Choux cafe, whichever you want to call them, just pure deliciousness. Okay, so right now I have a cup of powdered sugar, and I've also put inside a teaspoon of ground up espresso coffee. I'm not sure if you could see the little specks of black. And this is going to create the glaze. And now I made the coffee earlier, so it's cold. And I am going to just add my espresso a little bit at a time, just to see how much. Not sure how much you need. And also depends how many cream puffs you make, if you like it with a lot more glaze on it. So this is pretty much, you could maybe make two cups of the powdered sugar, but I think this should do it. Just keep stirring until you have a beautiful smooth glaze. I have a 12-inch piping, disposable piping bag, and I have a Wilton number 10 tip. It just has a basic round hole, and that's gonna help me fill up the cream puff. I am going to place it in a tall glass, which helps me fill up without making a mess. Okay, so I'm gonna start pouring my cream right in. Just want to show you. I'm not gonna fill it up all the way to the top. Push it down, get the air out. Okay, ready. So you see how it comes out? I just want you to see. There you go. Now, the cream puffs, the shells are not hard. So what you do is you just poke a little hole with the piping tip. And if that doesn't help, hold on, let me just, yes, it went in. Perfect. And now you just keep squeezing, 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 and you could almost feel it filling up. So you're gonna do it on one side and then on the other side. Perfect, yes, it's nice and full now. Tell the difference with the weight. Now, come close, I want you to look at this glaze. Isn't this beautiful with the little espresso flakes in it? Now I'm gonna dip the cream puff that's been filled, and voila. How does that look? I'm getting excited just looking at it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest and meet you back in a little bit. The choux à café are ready. Take a look. Now I want to show you also the inside of one, because this is what you want. You see that? They're nice and empty. There's no, if the cream puff is not right, you get all that doughy, wet dough inside. But this is just exactly the way it needs to be. Well, here are the choux à café. Enjoy, make a nice cup of espresso, cup of tea, sit down and enjoy this very special dessert. You could also make the cream and make the cream puffs, but only fill them up right before you need to serve them. Thank you for watching. If you like my recipes, subscribe and leave me lots of comments. I love reading the comments. Well, enjoy the cream puffs and un bacione, buon appetito, and enjoy the coffee. Ciao, ciao.